Hello friends, welcome to our channel. In this tutorial, we will cover the next task, that is reading for viewpoints, in reading section. If you like to check all of our Celpip tutorials, then you can search them on YouTube by typing Celpip Store. You will find many more tutorials of this video series. In this series, we will cover all the 4 sections of the Celpip exam including listening, reading, speaking and writing sections. Today, we will check out the reading part. The reading section is having 4 practice tests, and 1 practice task, as well. Total time allocated for the reading section is 55 minutes. We will start with reading part 4, reading for viewpoints. In this task, you will read an article from a website, which is on the left-hand side of your computer screen. And you have to choose the right option from the given drop-down on the right-hand side of the computer screen. Before we start reading for viewpoints tutorial, you should know the tips and tricks for this task. Number 1. You will have total 10 questions. Number 2. Total time duration is 13 minutes. Number 3. Need to have higher level of thinking skills. Number 4. Make observation for reasoning. Number 5. Draw logical consequences. Number 6. Understand the right meaning of a single sentence. Number 7. Just eliminate the wrong answers. Let's take an example now. Here we have a message. I think I should read this passage for you. So, the message is, depression can affect men of all ages and backgrounds. Around 1 in 8 men experience depression at some stage in their lives. Since suicide is the leading cause of death for men under the age of 44, and 75% of suicides are by men, it seems clear that many men are struggling in silence. Social and cultural expectations about what it means to be a man can contribute to depression and suicide, and can be a hurdle to men seeking help. Masculinity norms are one of the contributing factors to men not seeking treatment, says Dr. Stephen Cabone from Beyond Blue. Expressing problems and feelings may be seen as a sign of weakness by some men. This can mean that men bottle things up and choose not to reach out to others for advice or assistance when they need it. We take a look at which men are most at risk of depression, and how depression manifests. We also explore the story of Jonathan, who was diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety at the age of 21. The causes of depression are complex and diverse. They may include biological, genetic factors, personality factors, adverse early life experiences, and current life stressors. Some episodes are triggered by a long-running build-up of pressures, while others are brought on by a specific issue or event, such as a relationship breakdown, a change in health or the loss of a job. At other times, depression can strike without apparent cause or warning. The depressed mind starts to see everything in negative ways. You feel bad about yourself, bad about your life and bad about your future, says Dr. Cabone. But there are other signs and symptoms of depression that may seem less obvious. You may experience physical pain, including back and muscular pain, headaches, sleeping problems, tiredness, significant weight gain or loss, and sexual dysfunction due to depression. But it's easy to attribute these to other factors such as physical ill health, age or overwork. Some men with depression may feel irritable, angry or violent. Others may develop uncharacteristic or reckless behavior, such as reckless driving, drinking too much, drug misuse or compulsive gambling. Getting help sooner rather than later is the key to preventing the negative impacts these changes can have on your life. The first step towards successful treatment of depression is for men to understand that depression is a common condition and that there is no reason to feel ashamed. Dr. Cabone stresses that depression is not your fault. It's not a reflection of who you are, it's a health condition that anyone can experience. Jonathan remembers how hard it was to start talking openly about his depression. There was some shame and embarrassment. Men are used to hurting a muscle playing sport, but not talking about things. It's almost ingrained in us not to admit there's something wrong, he says. Modern treatments are very effective. They include lifestyle advice, psychological therapies, and antidepressants, and most men who do seek help will return to their previous levels of satisfaction with their life. We have a total of 10 questions in this task. Our first question is, the article is about. We have 4 options. Number 1, men in depression are ashamed of seeking help. Number 2, depression in men. Number 3, suicide in men. And number 4, drawbacks of depression in men. It is very clear that the article is about depression in men. So, accordingly option number 2 is correct, that is depression in men. Our second question is, main hurdles for a depressed man to seek help is, we have 4 options. Number 1, the social and cultural expectation for being a man. Number 2, the ego of the man. Number 3, he doesn't want to hurt his family. And number 4, he ashamed of doctors, according to the passage. The first option is correct, as social and cultural expectations are the hurdles that a man can contribute to depression and suicide. You can check the last line in the first paragraph. Our third question is, the first step towards successful treatment of depression is for men to understand that. We have 4 options. Number 1, depression is a common condition and there is nothing to worry. Number 2, depression is not common in men. Number 3, depression is not a good society. And number 4, depression is something to worry about, I think. First option is correct, as it is clearly mentioned in the first line of 8th paragraph that the first step towards successful treatment of depression is for men to understand that depression is a common condition and that there is no reason to feel ashamed. Our fourth question is, the effect of depression can be. We have 4 options. Number 1, physical, biological, personality disorders. Number 2, worse than one can think. Number 3, not so serious. And number 4, seems less in men, as we can check in the first line of 5th paragraph, that physical, biological, personality disorders are the causes that happen due to depression. So accordingly, first option is correct. Our 5th question is, modern treatment of depression includes. We have 4 options. Number 1, lifestyle advice and psychological therapies. Number 2, medicated advice and many other therapies. Number 3, various other treatments. And number 4, physical advice and social security. According to the passage, option number 1 is correct, that as lifestyle advice and psychological therapies. As modern treatments for depression are clearly mentioned in the first line of last paragraph. So accordingly, lifestyle advice and psychological therapies is the correct option. Now, friends, in this task, there is a second part, that is comment message by a visitor to the website page. So friends, let's start with a comment message, as I have earlier told you that this task has total 10 questions, so 5 questions are done and 5 are left, which we will do in the next part. Let's start with next part. It is a good article, but I don't think so that every man who undergoes depression is. Now we have the 6th question, where we have 4 options. Those are, number 1, ashamed to seek help. Number 2, not ashamed to seek help. Number 3, strongest man. And number 4, the coward man. Now, here, it is very clearly written in the 8th paragraph that there is no reason to feel ashamed who undergoes depression. So, accordingly, our first option is correct. Our 7th question is, I personally experience depression. It is so painful. I really need help from someone to come out of it, and I really want to tell everyone that depression or anxiety is not weakness. Here we have 4 options. Number 1, it is a form of illness. Number 2, it is a mental state. Number 3, it is the physical well-being. And number 4, it is not any problem. Here, our first option is correct, because it is very clear from the passage that depression is a form of illness. So, according to this, our first option is correct. Our 8th question is, for some reason, men are supposed to be. We have 4 options. Number 1, strong and never reveal feelings or emotions. Number 2, weak and emotional for feelings. Number 3, mainly in nature. And number 4, childish in nature. I think our first option is correct, as it is very clear from the passage that men are supposed to be strong and never reveal feelings or emotions. So accordingly, our first option is correct. Our ninth question is, and this is a really dangerous state of affairs. It's so important that men are taught to express any feelings they have, early on, so things don't build up. I think many men have. We have 4 options. Number 1, difficulty in expressing emotion. Number 2, difficulty in creating good emotions. Number 3, more powerful feeling. And number 4, more emotional. According to the given options, option number 1 is correct because men suffering from depression face difficulty in expressing emotions. So, our first option is correct. Our 10th question is, due to toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity refers to actions that, we have 4 options. Number 1, discourage displays of emotion. Number 2, encourage the display of emotions. Number 3, regulates display of emotions. And number 4, enhances the display of emotions. According to the message, the first option is correct, as it is very clear from the passage that toxic masculinity discourages displays of emotion. So, according to this, our first option is correct, that is discourage displays of emotion. I think this tutorial will give you some idea about how to choose the right option in reading for Viewpoints task. Please register on Celpip store to experience the real-time based practice platform. The link to join the platform is mentioned in the description below. Friends, don't forget to subscribe to our channel before completing this video. Thanks for spending time with us.